So we have Bitcoin today, and we are going to start charting out what we have here on the weekly. So we're going to look at some bigger time frames in this one, and we're going to be charting out major moves. As you know, we're playing with this range. We just hit a local top in the range, and now we're starting to retreat backwards. So I just want to get a big understanding, a macro understanding of where we are at with Bitcoin. And also, we're going to be diving into some technical analysis with XCN. So, yeah, buckle up. So, we'll start off with the monthly chart here. And as we can see, we'll start drawing some support and resistance lines. So, we've had a nice low back in the day, 2022, of 15,479. And yeah, that was wild. Not too long ago, but a long price action ago. Here we go. So, with the top of 126. All right. Here we are. So we're modeling this out. We're figuring out what the local, or I guess, they're not really that local, but what the highs and the lows were in the monthly chart here. All right. Yeah, these are the big moves. And one thing we could do is try to bring a Fibonacci out. It's going to be a little difficult with the parabolic motion of what we got going on here, but one thing we can do is bring the Fibonacci from, let's see, there we go, from this 15,000 range. And we'll start playing with this around here. And the 6.5 and the 706 are going to be our golden pockets. We'll make that gold. All right. We will adjust this support line, bring it right there. Okay. Actually, we'll leave that there. Let's see what we got going on. Yeah, that was just a wick. No problem. Put that right back at the golden pocket. And we'll put one up top here as well. And what I'll do is I'll just make them gold. Here we go. And then we'll also put one at the 786 range. Make that gold as well. Nice. Okay. Yeah, good. So those are our Fibonacci's, and that means we got a range, a nice little range of about 48,000 to 54,000 for a golden pocket on a Fibonacci retracement, which means basically that price action usually follows this Fibonacci, or at least it bounces off of these Fibonacci retracement lines, the 0.236, 294, 382, 0.5, and going down, and these right here, well, let's also might as well mention it, the 618, 65, 706, 786. These last three here, the 65, 706, and the 786, these are ideal targets that we would like to hit. This golden pocket of about 6.5 to 706 is a great range to hit. It's usually is where a nice bounce off would happen. This 786 range, though, is not always hit, but when it does get hit, you're looking at a much better entry than the golden pocket, basically. So it's another retracement below, before we start heading back to the original price that the Fibonacci started at. So you bring it from swing low to swing high, and that's what we have on the monthly chart right there. So I will take the Fibonacci out, and we can understand what we're looking at there. Put some resistance lines here at the local candle closes. And we'll put a support right here at that candle close. And one right there. Okay. Yeah, so we have some good support lines there that we're mapping out. Very nice. So one thing that we have going on here is some bullish divergence. And we've called this out before. And that is found right here with the RSIs moving back and forth. And back and forth is in the price action is going up and the RSI is going down. So that divergence in price action and RSI is a bullish sign. So this move to the upside is playing off of that bullish divergence, and we still have room to go on the monthly. Like, you know, we still really haven't even curled up fully and crossed. The blue hasn't crossed the orange yet, as it does here. So, yeah, we still have room to go. And the monthly is saying that we could start curling up, but it's surprising to me that we haven't started, maybe at least a little bit, but it looks like it might take some time here, which means that, you know, we could be seeing some consolidation or some lower price ranges coming at us. So, yeah, let's dive in deeper here. And now we have Bitcoin on the weekly. And yeah, we're gonna start lining this up right here. We'll put that as a nice support line. Maybe change the color to a blue. All right. So we got our weekly support right there. Still see that divergence on the price action as mentioned before. And all right, yeah, we have a candle close over here on the weekly. And yeah, we're just mapping this out right here. So one thing I'm seeing here is on the 3-day, we'll get rid of this support line. And I think what we have is, yeah, this is pretty good, but we could adjust this. So one thing we could do is bring it like this. We have more of a range to go down. Find some support around here. Bring it on the wicks instead. It gives us more of a range. It's not saying that it's as accurate as the candle closes, but with more of a range, we have a better picture of where the price is, you know, going in between. We can start closing it in as we get deeper into the time frames. So this is us on the 3-day. All right. Perfect. And so this right here that we're seeing is a bear flag. And usually this pattern is a continuation pattern, so the move is likely to continue to the downside. And what we could do here to be actually more conservative in this price range, this price projection, is do the candle closes on this. And what we'll do is mark that out right about there. And so as we could see, the price range of this downward projection puts us right into that golden pocket. Right in there. I mean, that's pretty awesome. Wow. So yeah, that price projection is about 52,800, and that's right within that golden pocket range. And yeah, that's pretty interesting. So on the 3-day, we're getting that. Our RSI is up high, and yeah, definitely something to look for as we continue within this range. We'll go to the daily. We'll start closing this up a little bit more. Here we go. Give it a different color. And we could see that we could tighten up the range a bit more on the daily with these candle closes. And yeah, so one thing that we do see here is this Adam and Eve pattern. And this pattern is measured to the upside, usually a reversal pattern. And we'll do the candle closes on that one as well for the projection. And we have a target of about 103,000. So here's our bullish scenario on the Adam and Eve projection there on the daily. And this is our macro range right now. We can go to the 18-hour. Yeah, and you know, we're pretty much just trading within here. So we're going to leave that be on Bitcoin there, and we'll leave it as the macro view with a bullish view of 103,000 and a bearish view of about 52. So a nice difference between them. And, this is not the only bearish move, or I mean bullish move up here. We have other moves that could potentially bring us up even higher, but there's a lot of intermediate steps, and that's the same thing with this downside. There's a lot of support lines here that we have going down, so it's not going to be a straight shot to 52. It's going to be more of a consolidation, and we're going to test support and resistance as we go down or as we go up. So, while this bear flag has a massive move and the upside move is not as big. These are just projections, but they're based on the patterns that we're seeing in the price action. So we'll leave it at that. And then we'll hop over to XCN here, Onyx coin. And here we're going to map out where the low is. This is our all-time low. Here we go. All right, let's get a little closer in there. Let's see, how low can you go? All right, the lowest XCN has gone is 0.00704. Interesting. All right, so, we're trading higher than that. Yeah, so we're just at about a penny right here for that. Okay. When was this low? Back in 2023. All right, interesting. We've got, wow, massive moves. All right. Let's see what this local low is. Just mapping out what this has done. Okay. You can see that there's some bullish divergence here. Price action is going downward, and this is kind of staying neutral or flat. You call it hidden bullish divergence, where it's not as obvious as like a massive divergence where it's going up and down, where this is a little bit more neutral on one side. But hidden bullish, saying that it's favoring to the bullish side there. So, yeah, let's see what we have here. We can measure out some price action and see where consolidation ranges would be if somebody wanted to get into this trade here. So let's see. Let's say we were in something like this. Well, let's see if this one gives us something a little clearer. Yeah, so let's do this. Bring that to that range. Yeah, it looks a little better. Not going to be perfect. It looks like we dropped out of the pattern and then came back up, tested the pattern again, or tested the low right below it. So there are some support and resistance lines here. Let's map those out. Yes, we have this is green. This is green here as well. And we've got another local support over here. Candle close, candle close. All right, perfect. Great. And you see some nice wick action also. These wicks are indicating a lot of sell-off, and then people just bought that right up. So it's good ranges here to start mapping out. All right, so now we'll also do that here for the locals on the daily. And we could start measuring this price action over here. When we were over here, let's see. Okay, here we go. Messed that up a second. All right, so we have that. We've got this. We've got a little bit of, we've got a little bit of that. All right, so we have some resistance here. Let's see, let's zoom out even more. Let's get this, yeah, all the way. Let's get that. Let's get this. And let's get that and that. All right, perfect. Very, very good. Okay, so now we have some ranges for XCN. All the way from 0.007 to just about 3.5 cents. So, all right, let's start looking even closer. Look at the 9-hour. I've been liking how the 9-hour starts to react, showing some buying opportunities whenever it gets low. So, yeah, let's see. 9-hour is still not all the way down yet. So, you'd like to see this stochastic RSI hang around this bottom range here. That would show a nice buying opportunity around here. So let's see where exactly that buying opportunity would be at. Let's double check here. So, oh, what are we doing? Okay. We're a little closer within this range. And this is on the 6-hour chart. So we can start flagging out these candle closes. All right. Now we have a little better picture of where we're ranging here after this big move. Okay. See, we have a little bit more variation here. We could even say we're down here. Okay. Yeah, we're just gonna make it wider on the 3-hour, on the 1-hour. Yeah, it's just gonna keep widening it up. So what we'll do is we'll bring it back to the original. Yeah, the 6-hour candle closes. All right. Yeah, because also you can see these wicks are pretty big once you get above those. Same with down here. You can see those wicks also getting pretty big. I mean, this is 1 hour now. But, yeah, all right. We'll leave it within this range, and then we'll put a bigger one, actually, so we know what the max is. And the minimum. Yeah, we'll say of this one right here. Okay. Tighter range within here. And we'll see what we got going on. We're on the 15. Let's see if we see anything. Start mapping this. All right, we'll get the lows here. Okay. Yeah, we could say we were in something like that. Started testing some support ranges a little bit before. Yeah, we got tight here. We got tight in this flag. And then we just popped out. Tighten the flag, popped out. Nice. All right. So let's see, where does this price action line up with? Okay. Yeah, that low right there. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so that's the flag right there, that local low. So the flag of this one, what are we going to say this one is? Boom, 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 boom. All right, what we could do is this. We'll call that low. And then we'll do that move. Right up to about close to 2 cents there. Let's make that this color. Make that the blue. All right. So now you can see how we're starting to get some estimates here on the price projections and what our next moves could look like here. So we have some resistance coming, you know, but we also have some support now that we're coming back up here. So this pattern that we're in right here on the 15, this rising wedge or this rising channel, looks like the price projection is coming right back down to the bottom of this pattern. So one thing that we can plan out for is ranging in here, and, you know, probably breaking it, coming back to test it, and then sinking down to this bottom range. And then holding that range, or at least what this channel is saying, you know, we could hold that range. That's where the price projection is of that channel, and then come back to the upside. That is the ideal scenario. It would great, nice buying opportunities here at this local low at about 0.008, and give us a nice move to the upside of about 33% just within this channel. And that's yeah, just within that channel. Not speaking of this price projection of about 126%. So this is some significant motion for XCN, but it's not something to start jumping in and making big trades off of just yet, unless you've planned out exactly where you want to go. And that's what we're doing here, is we're planning out what this price is possibly going to look like. So yeah, I like where this is sitting. We have some understanding of where the entries could be, and we're just gonna let this chart ride. We're gonna see what this looks like in a couple days, and yeah, we'll see what our price targets are. We can start putting a range here of, if we were to get in now, and let's say, yeah, our stop loss is right around this local area. Actually, we'll put it right here. Okay. And then we'll have this target of about 331. All right. Yeah, wow. I mean, you don't want to lose this channel here. That's really all the support you have. So yeah, you're banking on that to continue to the upside. All right. Yeah, so we'll leave that there. I think that's going to be a good way to project this out. All right. Great. So yeah, we have a trade of a ratio about 3.31 risk to reward on this XCN, and we have discussed Bitcoin, and we'll see where this goes. We're planning out our trades, our prices that we want to get in and get out. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Much love and have a